This week in gaming, Nintendo is stingy with third-party developers. Bungie CEO leaves, and PlayStation plans to learn from its failures, because this is the Nerd Cave News, and I am your host, Zach Dykes, joined along with my co-host and good friend, Derek Daniel. Derek, how's it going, my man?
It's going pretty well, man. Gonna say tired from today. I worked a long shift. I've been up since before the sun even came up this morning. But here I have a shorter day tomorrow, so it's okay.
There you go. Do you get Labor Day off, Derek?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I do work a shorter day, but like a 6 to 3. But I do not have Labor Day off, unfortunately.
Well, I will remember you while I
I do
labor.
I do have the day before off.
Okay, well, there you go. There you go. At least you got some time off, but I will remember you on Labor Day. Welcome, everybody, to the stream. We hope you're doing well. Let us know how you are down in the comments below. We're glad that you're here. I love seeing the chat popping off before we ever even went live tonight. That was pretty dope. Yeah. That was pretty dope. So I'm excited. Welcome, everybody. It's going to be a great night because just a little housekeeping. One, we're going to have a great show. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Two, next Tuesday, we're jumping back into Ghost of Tsushima. Now that we're past the prologue, setting everything up, the chat choosing what I do is going to get very, very interesting for old Zacharu. So it's going to be very, very good. And at the end of this show, we're going to be putting out my reaction to episode 3 of Kaiju number 8, season 2. So right after this, it will go live. This will actually push you to there, so you don't have to go anywhere. It'll automatically do that. So we'll let you know when that is happening and everything. Please go watch and support that. We're trying some new content out on the anime side of what we do here because we love anime.
We do. Live it, eat, sleep, and breathe it.
Yes. Eat, sleep, breathe anime. It doesn't roll off the tongue as much.
Just see, that's why we called it Eat Sleep Anime.
Yeah. But guys, let's jump into the segment that Escape to Books was bringing up. What you been playing, Derek? Have you been able to play anything since last week?
Yes, I did play Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm in the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC, and it started off, pretty tame. There's a mystery abounding. Like there was a mission. If you did play through all like the side quests in the main game, there was a mission that kind of alluded to it, like down in the very southern region, where you didn't really get an explanation other than it's like, oh, a stolen artifact. I'm like, okay, cool. And then that was the basis of it. But little did it know, like that's going to play a bigger part in the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC. So it sets up, and all of a sudden, boom, dead pharaoh arisen, and you have to fight it and kill it. And then it just, as you're just venturing out, they keep popping up throughout the game. So it was pretty tame. Like I'm going through. It's a bigger DLC map than the hidden ones, obviously.
Yeah.
But I just got to the interesting part. Yesterday, where I went to the Valley of the Kings segment, where it has like a bunch of like, it had a bunch of question marks, 4 gold ones, and it's like pretty much all tombs. Dude, I wasn't ready for what was going to hit me, because I picked one of the few that didn't have like a story quest tied to it. I'm like, all right, let me just explore. I know what. I'm thinking I know what to expect with the tomb. Just explore it, get the treasure. All of a sudden, this little thing that looks like a animus glitch, like just enough to slide through, pops up. I'm like, this is weird. All of a sudden, you're in the pretty much the land of the dead. I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? It's like, what was it? Hebsud or Nebs? I forget what the first area was, but there's pretty much, I guess, like there's 4 tombs, so you get 4 different dead series. Because the first one you go to is King Ramses, and
nice.
Heb said, and it's like a bunch of it's like pretty much like a bunch of statue heads. Some of them are taller, like one's like the vantage point, and then the rest are just scattered throughout. But there's like question marks throughout that. There's like one DLC, or there's one side quest that you can pick up, and even pretty much like the papyrus puzzles. But if you get all these, if you read all these like tomes, I guess you can say. We lost Zach. Hopefully he'll come back. But anyway, I'll continue. You do find you do get to find like a hidden treasure. If you find all of like the tomes throughout that area, but it's really cool. You do get to fight, mummies and stuff like that throughout it. You do also have giant scorpions you get to fight, which I was not expecting. Like all of a sudden I come up on the layer of circuit and it's like a level 58 boss. I'm like, just going to go pop off arrows at it and hope it does something. And it's like, it did. It killed it pretty fast because it was like fire arrow damage. But it's a cool area. The second one I went to was where I ended off last night, the Tomb of Tutankhamun. And this one, you get to go to the Duat, which is not as aggressive. It's more scenic. It's more of like a safe hub area. And it's just got like these blue large flowers that just open and close the closer you get to them. But there's still stuff to do, still stuff to find. So I'm really digging this DLC. Hopefully we get. I don't know what happened to Zach, guys. He all of a sudden he got he looks like he went to the Duat. Oh, maybe he's back? Question mark. We'll see. We got his visual now. Let's see his audio.
Oh, hello. There we go. I don't know what's going on, guys.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Now, Derek, do you have toots in common with this Pharaoh?
Why? No, I don't. I mean,
say that when you were saying it, but I was like, I got to figure out this stupid tech issue. I don't know what.
I know. So yeah, I did go to the next one is Tutankhamun, but his afterlife area is the Duat, which is more of like a peaceful place. Like there's regular people just walking around. It's not really haven't run into any enemies except the first one was like guarding the place. So of course that like the first area I went into, but it's not as aggressive as the first one. So because the first one was like a sandy area, and every about 5 minutes there was a sandstorm coming through. I was like, can we not please? Sand everywhere. But this one is more peaceful, more tranquil. Obviously there's still stuff to do, but I left off going there before I had to hit the hay for the night. So
I like it. Bane says he's playing GTA Online before saying goodbye because GTA 6 will be coming out next year, and Smite 2. I haven't heard anyone really talk about Smite in a very long time. I know Robbie was like huge on Smite, like he was like a big Smite fan. And then Mecha Break is another one that he's playing. Escape says just started Star Wars Survivor. I think you're gonna like it. I know you had commented in Discord that you were playing it. There's a ton to do. Derek, did you platinum Survivor?
No, I never did.
Okay. My colleague at work, Hunter, he platinum Survivor, and there's a ton to do. So it's definitely a bang for your buck kind of game, and it's really enjoyable. And I love what they've added to Survivor. So I think Escape, you'll really enjoy that game. Escape says she platinumed the first game. Nice. And I didn't platinum either of them. But Derek, as everybody knows, I played some Ghost of Tsushima on Tuesday. Started feeling, the kind of the groove again of what Tsushima was. I was actually getting parries like early on. I was like, oh yeah, man, it's feeling good. I'm like, oh, we're getting in here. You know what I mean? So feeling good on that. But over the weekend, Friday night, I was like, man, I want to play something. What do I want to play? And I was looking, nothing was really hitting me. And I even got Resident Evil 4 from Hunter, my colleague at work, because I let him borrow Ghost of Tsushima, my disc version. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, I'll just try Death Stranding.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I started playing Death Stranding. I probably played 8 or 10 hours this weekend of Death Stranding. And it's like, it's this weird, like, chill, but then it's not chill. All of a sudden, like when BT show up and everything, and then like I will say that this game is probably the game that makes the most sense from Kojima. Not a Kojima, from Kojima. Yeah, I'm not
Kojima.
Kojima Konami always like confuses me at times, but dude, it actually makes some sense, which is kind of, I'm like, that's a new thing for, Kojima and everything. And I'm liking it. I finally got a bike, and the bike is dope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was describing it to Amy.
There is no describing it. Just say it's an acid trip delivery simulator. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I had this misconception, Derek, that the BTs couldn't catch me if I was on my bike. Because, like, when you get into the middle of BTs, you have to, like, slow down. You have to, like, cover your mouth so you're not breathing, because they can, like, hear you breathe and everything. And I was like, I could just outrun them. And I ran a few of them. And then right before I got off the last time I played, which was Saturday or something or whatever, and I'm going through them, and then this huge black like tar pit like appeared under my bike, and all these like tar looking hands like started grabbing me on my bike and ripping me off. Dude, it was the most freaking traumatic thing. God. I was like, oh my God.
Well, and it's like, yeah, I didn't play through much because I played a little bit of it when it first came out back in the day on PlayStation 4. And there was that thing where if you get spotted too early, or you get caught and you're not careful, like you just like they just start dragging you down. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, and like, dude, I was almost at my max. Right now, my max like carry is like 120 kilos or something like that. Pounds, whatever. I don't know. This metric system. Very heavy, and I was like stacked to the brim too. My bike had a ton of stuff, and like I get off and they're like grabbing me, and I'm like shaking, and I'm like throwing all my packages off. I'm like, I ain't dying here.
Not today.
I did get away, and then like I snuck back slowly and got all my packages and got back on my bike and headed out slowly and got through them. But Death Stranding, I'm really enjoying it. So getting kind of like two key games from the PS4 era and like kind of replaying them, because I know Death Stranding 2 just came out, and then to Escape's point, Yote is coming out, in October 2nd. We're going to be getting that, which I'm super excited for. So I know, Derek, you've already played through Tsushima and Iki Island, so you're ready to go. So I'm super excited.
I'm ready.
Yeah. And she's ready for Pokemon Legends. Is that ZA? Is that the...
Yeah, ZA.
Okay. ZA.
Or ZA. I think Kind of Funny pronounces it ZA, but it is, I think it's called ZA.
Bane, you definitely need to look at Yote. I still haven't watched the state of play that they showed everything, so I'm just kind of like, at this point, I'm like, I don't want to see anything else. I just want to play it. So
I know you I know we saw that trailer from Gamescom, but I know you're wanting to go on Moot. Hold on just a second. My boss is calling me.
So as Derek takes his call from his boss, we're glad that you hear it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Nerd Cave. We do this show each and every week on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, and we stream on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's where we kind of play games. We kind of get to chat a little bit more as a group, as a community and everything. So it's a great time. But welcome everybody to the channel. Welcome everybody to the stream. We're glad that you're here tonight. We've got an excellent show planned for you. We're talking about Nintendo and their weird dealings with third-party developers, how they're kind of being stingy. The Bungie CEO has left, that's been overseeing Bungie since 2015. And then PlayStation is apparently going to learn from its failures with Concord moving forward, which I hope that they do. But thank you all so much for being here and hanging out with us tonight, because we love getting to talk about video games and video game news. We kind of geek out about that, nerd out, if you will, since this is the Nerd Cave and everything. So it's going to be a great time hanging out with us tonight. Let us know where you're watching from, if you're comfortable with that, and let us know what game you are most excited for, either in the near future or in the distant future. And Bane already put this in here, ready for Witcher 4. The like tech demo that they showed for Witcher 4, I'm like, man, this looks fantastic. I need to go back and play through Witcher 3 and everything, but the Witcher 4, it just looks gorgeous. Amy says I'm watching from the other room. I was for some odd reason I was expecting to look across and you just watching me from the other room. If y'all don't know, Amy is my wife. South Carolina, nice. Arkansas, heartbroken. What do you mean? What do you mean? Escape says the only reason I don't have the platinum for Tsushima is because I didn't replay before my PS4 died. And I got my PS5, but I'd have to play it twice to get that final trophy. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I really wanted to start this playthrough that I'm on right now on New Game Plus, but I also didn't want people that don't know what's going on to be very confused. So I started a whole new playthrough and everything. So yeah, we in Florida. But guys, thank y'all so much for being here. Like I said, we got an awesome show. Derek is still tied up at the moment, but we'll get into the show as it is. Again, like I said, tonight we are going to be putting live my reaction to Season 2, Episode 3 of Kaiju number 8. That'll go live right after this show. So once we finish, YouTube will actually push you to that video. So please stay around, check it out, like it, share it, all of that good stuff. The last episode did really well. So trying to do something a little new here on the channel. We really love anime. And we have been watching some interesting anime. Amy and I have been watching what is it called? It's called Shy. It's literally called Shy. Amy said the current anime we're watching is Emotional Damage. Yeah, like you think it's Shy is like the world knows peace, and to keep the peace, every country now has like a superhero, and they get these powers from, you don't really know how they get powers. And man, I was not expecting the emotional toll that this show was going to take, but it's definitely had some very, very interesting stuff. Back over to Tsushima. Escape says, I love the multiplayer. I hope they do another for Yote. So they announced at Gamescom last week that they are going to do a new Legends mode. It won't launch day and date, so it won't launch on October 2nd, but in 2026 we'll be getting a new Legends mode. And if you buy Yote, you get it for free. I think they might be putting it as a paid thing for people that are not going to be buying it. There he is.
Yeah,
the man,
sorry
the myth,
guys,
the legend.
So I had some work stuff to take care of. One of our inventory clerk that checks in all the vendors and stuff, she called out this morning and called out for tomorrow. So because she doesn't feel well.
Well, hopefully she gets to feeling better.
Me too, because I know my boss was coming in at 6, so I figured, hey, I don't know which manager is opening up that has access, that if they can be able to scan anything in. So I texted him now just to let him know. It's like, hey, in case you need to come in a couple hours early, like find out now.
Yeah, it's better to find out now than 9-10 o'clock.
Yeah, especially when you're in bed, because he wasn't supposed to be until 6 tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, Derek, let's get into the gaming discussion this week. Nintendo reportedly almost discouraging Switch 2 development as studios told to launch games on Switch 1 and rely on backwards compatibility instead. What a bunch of bull malarkey.
So some developers say Nintendo is making it hard to get Switch 2 dev kits even months after the console launched. Instead, they're told to focus on the original Switch and let backwards compatibility carry their games forward. Digital Foundry's John Linneman explained, quote, Nintendo seems to be almost discouraging Switch 2 development to some degree. He added they were told that their game, they should just ship it on Switch 1 and rely on backwards compatibility. There's a lot of developers that are unable to get Switch 2 dev kits, and they want to ship on Switch 2. They would love to do Switch 2 versions. They can't get the hardware. It's really difficult right now, end quote. Fellow host Oliver McKenzie also questioned the approach. He said, I don't really understand the strategy because even now developers are struggling to get systems. He pointed out that some indie studios have kits that while bigger teams do not. There were some weird exclusions with some big developers struggling to get kits. Some indies were included, which is nice to see. The Camera Campfire game, they're getting kits and some big developers. And some big developers aren't necessarily in the pipeline there for kits. This uneven access has left many studios frustrated and unsure how to plan their next releases. And this is really weird. Like, I could understand
weird Nintendo decision.
weirdest of to date, essentially. I don't get this. Like, if it was more of the indie side, like say it was like I forget the developer's name behind Hollow Knight, Silksong, but if like Team Cherry, it just came to me. If it was them and like other big indie developers, or like even like just indie developers in general, I'm like, okay, that sucks because indie games are getting better and it's a nice little palate cleanser in between waiting for big releases. But I get it because Nintendo can't afford to send it out to everyone at the same time.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know which big developers haven't gotten dev kits, because that's more of a concern to me. I mean, it's a concern that they're having trouble, like they said, almost 2 months after launch now at this point, or no, almost 3 months after launch at this point of the Switch 2 console, that people still don't have dev kits. And it's like, this is like the Don Matrick. It's like, oh, fortunately we have a system in place. It's called the Xbox 360. It's like, just make it for the Switch 1. It's okay. No, it's not okay. It's like, how do you have issues sending out dev kits when you spent all this time in tech now? And don't say, oh, tariffs are making it. I don't want to hear that, because tariffs don't impact sending dev kits across the the world to people. But how can I say this? It's really dumb that maybe it's almost backwards, because it's like, hey, let's give the inferior system and build on that, and then don't water down and dumb down your game, because let's shove under the rug that our last Pokemon games on the Switch, like core Pokemon entries, didn't run well. They ran like crap on the Switch. And yeah, just make it and just let it backwards compatibility be your guide, and like just let it run on the Switch too. We can update it later. I'm like, that's not the same thing, first of all. But I'd still like to know which big developers don't have dev kits, because it is concerning. It's like, how you would think console availability to consumers would be more of an issue than dev kits.
Yeah, and we've saw with this launch, compared to the Switch 1, I don't know many people that are like, oh, I struggle to get a Switch too. Like, it's been pretty available for everybody that pre-ordered or whatever. Even afterwards, like, they were able to get them in stores and everything. And I feel like anybody that wanted a Switch has a Switch too at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And to even Escape's like, glad I didn't get the Switch 2. This, I feel like, is Nintendo picking indies over big third-party developers is very interesting. But you look at Nintendo, they pretty much have the Nindies. They were known for that. But if you are severing, it might have been like, oh, you didn't support the Switch 1, so we're not giving you a dev kit. It just feels very anti-consumer when you really get down to it, because it's like The only reason you got a Switch 1 is pretty much to play the Nintendo games last time.
Correct.
And we were hoping that this time around, seeing, Cyberpunk is going to be there, Final Fantasy is going to be there, Elden Ring, seeing all these big titles come to it. And you're like, wow, this actually looks good compared to The Witcher 3 on the Switch 1 that looked like dog water.
Right.
It's just like, it makes me really wonder, like, oh, well, and when devs get a kit, it's not for free.
No.
They have to pay for that. And it's like, you really have to wonder what the decision is here. And it's like, oh, well, if you make it for the Switch 1, and this might be it. You make it for the Switch 1, that install base goes ahead and can buy it, and then you can port it over to the Switch 2, and you get that install base too. But it's like, oh, since we raised the price on Switch 1s, we need new games to keep coming out for it. So that might be the way they're doing that.
But I mean, yes, in a roundabout way, that's probably they're out to this. But at the same time, going back to like, oh, like you didn't make games on Switch 1. Why would you cut off your nose to spite your face? Like maybe it would be wholly different if it was the Wii U to Switch 1, because not only was the Wii U way inferior, no one bought a Wii U either. So I would understand that more of an argument. But at this point, like you developed a more powerful console than your previous one. It can run games better. Like, and even like, why would you like, what if the developers did try to make a game for the Switch 1 and they just couldn't because it was like The Witcher 3 or, whatever some other big third-party games that were running like poo on there because they didn't want to put out a crappy product. Like, they're like, hey, we can't get this to run, so let's just have this deal fall through on this for right now until we get better tech. So why would you punish them for being honest in that aspect? Now, if they were pulling some, corporate bigwig minutia where it was like, oh, well, we can't get it to run well, and we're not going to waste time and money on this, so why even bother? Like if they were like snooty about it, like turn their nose up about it, like, yeah, I could understand Nintendo not wanting to play ball with them. But if it was just because a deal fell through, it's like, hey, like, and the Switch 1 was a proof that, hey, we understand that we did lack a lot of big third-party developers or third-party support on the Wii U. Let's rectify that. Like, yeah, the games may not run great. They may be very watered-down versions of the major console predecessors, but we are actively touting this system to third-party developers, and they see the uniqueness of it and the portability of it, and they want to put their stuff on there. So it's like, why would you punish them for being honest if it's like, hey, we like the idea, it's a great, we want to support you down the road, but we can't do it with this game at this time.
I agree with Amy. It sounds like a bunch of crap to me.
Yeah.
It does feel very, it's a weird Nintendo decision, and I feel like Nintendo is known for doing things that don't make a lot of sense. Sometimes it works out really well for them. The Switch was like a big game changer here, pun intended. But when you think of like this, it's like the lifeblood of a console. The reason why the Xbox One didn't do well was because it didn't have games.
Right.
And like third parties had to carry that console. Same thing, we're kind of experiencing this generation with the PlayStation 5 is there's not a lot of first party games.
No, especially games that are just exclusively on the PS5 either. Because yes, people could say, oh, well, God of War and Horizon, but those were multi-generation. Those were PS4 and PS5.
Yeah. So now we're facing this where, okay, we've got Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is doing gangbusters. You're getting Pokemon Legends ZA, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And you're getting Kirby, like their racing game there. But that's pretty much all that's coming out this year. And you need third parties. And I know, like,
supposedly, spoiling one of the quick hits, there's supposed to be a Nintendo Direct next month, and Metroid Prime 4 release date is in the cards, supposedly.
Okay, that's dope. I'm down for that. But you look at third parties, like I know Elden Ring, they're saying it's not running very well on Switch 2. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's out or not, but like, you know, previews at least it's
Yeah.
saying that it's not running well. And then Call of Duty, like the new Black Ops 7 is supposed to come out on the Switch, but it's delayed compared to the rest of the releases.
Yep.
And it's like, if you want people to really take your console seriously, you need to be day and day with the rest of them. And that means getting dev kits. That means supporting the developers that actually care about your system,
Right.
instead of treating them like they're, you know, an ugly child. You know, it's like, I don't love you because you're ugly.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this is. I think Bane puts it, we don't want you to play with our ball. Yeah, it feels a lot like that.
Right. It's like, take your ball and go home. No, you don't even get a ball.
You don't get a ball. You don't get nothing. You don't get nothing. We got an interesting show. It just kind of feels like a weird kind of like, all right, this is happening.
Right.
You know. Let's go to the second story of the night. Bungie's Pete Parsons announced departure as Justin Truman takes over leadership.
Pete Parsons, who's been running Bungie since 2015, is stepping down as CEO. He said it's time to, quote, pass the torch after many years building the studio, creating the Bungie Foundation, and connecting with millions of players. Here's what he said in his own words. Quote, after more than 2 decades of helping build this incredible studio, establishing the Bungie Foundation, and growing inspiring communities around our work, I have decided to pass the torch. This journey has been the honor of a lifetime. When I was asked to lead Bungie in 2015, my goal was to grow us into a studio capable of creating, and sustaining iconic generation-spanning entertainment. We've launched a bold new chapter for Destiny, built an enviable independent live ops organization, and joined the incredible family at Sony Interactive Entertainment. Today marks the right time for a new beginning. The future of Bungie will be in the hands of the new generation of leaders, and I am thrilled to announce that Justin Truman will be stepping into leadership as Bungie's new studio head. End quote. And on the surface value, right? This is all like, okay, like, it's like when Sean Layden passed the torch, like he went out on a high. He went out, when the PS4 was the top, like PlayStation was the #1 brand in the country during the PlayStation 4 era. And, that was all heartfelt. Like now, of course, with Voldemort.
Jim Ryan.
When he stepped down, it was like a celebration, not because he was the head and we were celebrating his career, more like it's like ding dong, the witch is dead, he's out of here. But on the surface, it's like, heartwarming, but when you go back and look at the last calendar year, obviously, or like just even the last 6 to 8 months, you wonder if he saw the writing on the wall, because the whole thing with not Marathon, Marathon.
Yeah, Marathon.
Is their new, Marathon. Excuse me. I'm thinking of what's the game that we're going to talk about here in a minute. In the
Concord.
next story. Yeah, Concord. Thank you. But yeah, with Marathon, like having all the issues with copyright and everything, and then like having that fake apology, and then like having bad AI, like it was just a snowball effect of that whole thing for a couple weeks. And then we talked about a couple weeks ago that old Papa Sony is like, you ain't doing too good, son. You're moving back in with us. You're gonna be on house arrest, essentially. We watching you. So because they were fumbling the bag in other aspects as well, Sony's just like, we let you have your independency under our umbrella. We let you live out on out on the edge for a little bit. Now you got to come back in. You got to come back to the family business. So you wonder if either A, he saw the writing on the wall, or B, Sony was laying out conditions and like telling them all what they expected, and he was just like, maybe it's time. Maybe I'm not the one to do this. Maybe I just need to like leave before it gets worse. Like a Bobby Bowden situation where I'm going to be forced to like voluntold to leave, and just let someone else run the ship that Sony wants us to run.
Yeah, I think this is Sony saying, "Hey, we're taking over. We no longer need your services," like the Bobby Bowden kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because within the last like 5 years, Bungie has laid off 320 employees at least, and then reassigned like 195 more. So that's 515 that have been displaced under this leadership. And within that is Bungie being bought by Sony and being brought on to help with live service development, which we've already seen one of those games come out, which is Concord, which we will talk more about, and utterly fail. And with that buying of Bungie, Pete Parsons used a large sum of that money, it went to him personally, and he bought several cars and then bragged about it. Like we talked about this.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we
that's
talked about this
bad look
several months ago when, the big layoff, that a lot of people got laid off at Bungie and everything. And then we've seen Destiny 2 just not do well. The final shape didn't do the numbers that was supposed to.
Right.
We saw all
3's pretty much on an indefinite hold.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like since they left Activision, I felt like Activision really kept them on a tight leash, and we were like, what? Activision's so mean. And then they left and they're like doing their own things. And it was like, okay. And then they got by Sony. It was like, oh, this is amazing. But we saw like the leadership not do what they're supposed to, and so many people losing their jobs and then stealing art for their game. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you are knowing of that, if you're negligent, or if you're,
it's not a good look either way, whether it's like, oh, I didn't know this was happening. It's like, you don't know what's going on in your own house, or I knew what was happening, so you let it happen. Like, it's a no-win situation.
Yeah, exactly. And now that Sony's brought them in, it's like, okay, we're getting rid of the old guard. We're getting rid of the people that have caused this mess. We're putting in someone new that we can trust, that is moldable, and that is going to take our direction. Because like, you look at even Sony Santa Monica, like we saw Corey Barlog come up, he being the director of God of War, and then Shuhei coming over and was like, yeah, this isn't good. And him, Corey could have fought that, but it was like, no, you're actually right, that it's not where it needs to be. You need somebody in that leadership position that knows when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, and even run. You better count your money when you're sitting at the table, when you're willing and you're able.
Yeah. So, and
Derek, you didn't even give me a surprise.
I know what you were getting at. It's I was just letting you roll with it. I was letting you do your Zackism. But no, you're 100% right. And this is a typical thing of being at one place for too long. Now, of course, like, yes, there are more success stories than that. Like with over at Xbox, you've got Phil Spencer, who came up through the company, is leading them through like pretty much like on a high end. Like, yeah, there may not be the number one, selling your brand, but they're the number one like subscription brand, arguably now, or like becoming or getting to that point at this point. And Sean Layden and all these other people that came up through Sony leadership wise, but then you have those bad eggs that are weaseled in with this. Derek just ignoring the joke and moving on. Yeah. I mean, I'm used to this at this point. Like, I just let Zach do his thing and I continue on. But no, you have this bad egg who's lit in there, who's gone through like 2 decades. A lot happens a lot for good and for bad. A lot happens in the gaming industry on that time. And like, we brought up Activision, like they were Bobby Kotick was running a frat house, essentially. It seemed like this when all that stuff came out, and Bungie was like, yeah, let's keep the party going. The guys who peaked in high school and college that just don't want to party all night long. And it seems like Pete Parsons carried that over a little bit, especially when it's like, hey, I laid off 300 some people, but let me check out all these new cars, bro. It's like, that's that tone deaf and idiotic. So sometimes you need to trim the fat.
Yeah, I agree. Derek, have you ever heard of the Peter Principle?
Maybe I've heard the actual description, but never knew what it was called. But I indulge you. Go ahead.
So the Peter Principle is this. The idea comes from the management theory. In a hierarchy, every employee tends to rise to the level of incompetence. In other words, as people succeed, they get promoted until they reach a point where they don't have the skills to succeed anymore. The result is hitting a ceiling. You stop progressing because you've reached a role or skill level beyond your current competence. And I feel like the Peter principle is Pete Parsons in a nutshell.
Facts, actually. That is wow. Okay. Now we have a description with it. So that makes all the more sense. So
it's also funny that his name is Pete.
Yeah, that's almost like it was named after him.
So, guys, let us know what you thought. I'm glad that Bane liked my joke at least. I'm glad Bane liked my joke at least. Escape says it seems like more offboarding with kindness, but we all know he's being forced to be nice about this. Yeah. It's like, well, and I'm sure he's getting a golden parachute.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. So
maybe not as luxurious as Bobby Kotick, but
no, yeah. I don't think anybody's going to get something like that ever again. But you know what you can get is a subscription to the Nerd Cave right here on YouTube. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our content here on the Nerd Cave. So subscribe, listen to the podcast here. You can listen to Eat Sleep Anime here as well. Mm-hmm. It's all that goodness, y'all. We got that good, you know?
Like, how you see an anime that like Naruto or something eating ramen and they have that end slurp when they're all the noodles. It's just that good.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about Sony. We're going to keep in the Sony camp here tonight. Hermen Hulst says company now does much more rigorous and more frequent testing after Concord's failure. Why didn't you do it before, sir?
Correct. We'll get there. So PlayStation boss Hermen Hulst says the failure of their live service game Concord taught them a big lesson. Now Sony is doing, quote, much more rigorous and more frequent testing in many different ways. He told the Financial Times. Hulst explained the advantage of every failure is that people now understand how necessary increased oversight is. He also added, I don't want the teams to always play it safe, but I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply, emphasizing the benefit of catching mistakes before they become costly. Sony is still committed to live service games despite Concord's flop, and Hulst stressed the importance of offering diverse player experiences and strong gaming communities going forward. It's tough. So, again, it goes back to the earlier thing, like when we talked about, it's like, negligence. It's like, oh, you didn't oversee this. Like, it's a new IP. It's an unknown testing. It's like a smaller studio that y'all just bought up not that long ago, and they're not proven. Essentially, it's like you didn't pretty much babysit them on this project. And then it's like, or the other side of the coin is like, oh, you knew and you still let it come out. I don't think Sony knew it was going to be that, come out to that big of a mess to an extent. But yeah. I do think they learned the lesson. The real lesson that they're learning is we're not going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in an IP that's going to not even last 2 weeks and then have to be shut down and we issue refunds. That's the lesson that they're really learning. And I get it. Like when you're one of the top brand in the world and you put out quality games like Horizon, God of War, Ghost, or
Spider-Man,
Astrobot. So like you put out like just to name some of the few of the last of this generation, and with that becomes with great products come great expectations. And yes, is everything do developers go in mind of hitting a home run every time they put a game out? Of course. Does it always do that? No. That's where realism comes into play, and that the market dictates fairly or unfairly what they want. And the market said Concord is a trash dumpster fire that needs to fade from existence, because I haven't seen it. I don't know in recent memory that a game was 2 weeks on the market and then just went away. That's the litmus test.
Yeah, like I would say potentially how it did come back. There's instances where games did come back, but Cyberpunk 2077 and No Man's Sky, they did have bad receptions where it was like, oh,
Sea of Thieves was another one.
Yeah, but they were able to go about that and, you know, make it happen and everything. One of the things that it didn't put in there, you know, because we use ChatGPT to pull some of this down. Hulst, sorry, also said we take very intentional approach to IP creation, understanding how a new concept can turn into an iconic franchise for PlayStation that can then again become a franchise for people beyond gaming. So they're wanting to really double down on creating long-term IPs, which I feel like they got away from because of Jim Ryan and that whole push. And it's like, if you really want this to succeed, you have to, you know, you got to take the girl that you brought to the dance. You know what I mean? You got to know how to go around and actually make games. And I feel like they were pushing that so hardcore where how many hours I feel like, because they were saying 60% of development was going towards live service games, you know, 2 or 3 years ago. And it's like, how many hours were wasted trying to make live service games that either came out and, you know, of course, did bad or have been canceled or
before
have
they
been
even see the light of day.
Yeah. And it's like, man, how much could have been put towards things that Sony could actually see results on? Because again, I will say this, Sony has never made a good first-person shooter game.
Correct. So
I'm sorry, they haven't. And I'm not counting Destiny or any of that. They bought them. That they didn't make that game. So I agree that failure is a good thing. Okay. We're taught in school that failure is a bad thing, that if you fail, then that is the worst thing that you
gotta be perfect all the time.
Gotta be perfect all the time. And that's not realistic, because failure, when you know, oh, I'm, you know, lifting weights. Oh, well, I can't lift, you know, 200 pounds right now. I failed at that. You don't just stop lifting weights. You decrease the weight and you find the point where I can do that, you know, and
you build up to that point.
And that's any skill. But the way they need to do this is they need to set some internal systems where, okay, you have an idea. Let's see a rough version of this, you know, and failing fast and failing often will give you those benefits. Like, trust me, the more I shoot, the more I'm like, oh, that's not going to work because I've done that before and I'm able to do something faster now. Same with editing, same with anything. So I feel like they definitely need to get some systems and processes in place to help their teams make games that actually matter and that people actually want to play. Because my God, I don't want to play fair games. I don't want to play any of those games that feel like that. We've already gotten so many of them and they're trash and they last for a month at max.
Yeah. If they last past a month, it means they've got your hooks in you like a Fortnite, like an Apex, like a Call of Duty, you know. But those are we've talked about it ad nauseum that, you know, those are few and far between. There's a reason why those games sit at the top of the mountain and the rest are on top of the mountain of a bunch of dead live service games.
Yep. Yeah. And it's just like, you know, knowing that, being able to make something that's actually good.
Yeah. So again, and it's like the old sports quote, it's like you learn more in a failure in a loss than you do in a victory. So because in a victory, nothing else matters. All you think about is you're on cloud nine. It's like, we did it, you know, we got to the mountaintop. We're not thinking about anything else. Whereas you lose, you're like, okay, what can I learn from this? What can we do better for next time? Like, you know, how do we carry this over to the next game? So so it's, again, I do agree that they're learning failure, but it's also like we're learning from this failure because we spent like $400 million to somewhere between $200 and $400 million, some egregious amount of money on an IP that was unproven from a studio that was pretty much unproven. It's like, yeah, let's it hurt our wallet. Let's not do that again.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think about Vince Lombardi, you know, one of the greatest football coaches of all time, you know, go Pack. When the Packers, even when he was at the Redskins, when they would lose, he would come into the next practice and he would pick up a football and he would say, "This is a football." And he would go back to basics. And I feel like that sometimes has to happen. So you when you have something like Concord or anything else, you need to wipe the slate clean. It's like, get rid of the preconceptions of what worked 10, 15 years ago, talking to you, Pete Parsons, and build something that actually can compete in this day and age. And some of that is live service games. Not very many, because people don't have that kind of time or money. A lot of that is going to be great games that fill in a specific niche that people want.
Correct.
There you go, guys. There you go. Derek, let's jump into the Patreon quick hits. And welcome to the show, Nate. Hope you're doing well. It's time for the Patreon quick hits. The Patreon quick hits are brought to you by our wonderful patrons. Go support the Nerd Cave right now. Go do it right now. And get your very own Nerd Cave membership to help us continue to make awesome shows just like this one. Eat, sleep, anime, reacting to anime, all that good stuff. We like anime here, and the shows that we do throughout the week and everything. So go do that. Get the membership that matches your budget. Don't put yourself over a barrel. Okay, that's not what we're saying. We're a 1.5 person business here, guys. All right, 1.5 person business, and everything everything helps. Okay.
Yes. Maybe if we get enough, maybe I can become a full person now.
Maybe Derek can become a full person. Maybe he can become a real boy. I don't know.
You took it out of my mouth. I was literally going to
go there. So become part of the ship, part of the crew at patreon.com/nerdcave. It's time for the Patreon quick hits.
Starting off, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater producers say the game's success will see them consider lots of other games in the future. Following that, the producers hint that a younger team could take the series forward with new entries. Double Fine's Tim Schafer rules out more sequels for now, but don't expect Brutal Legends 2 or Psychonauts 3 anytime soon. DICE confirms big changes coming to player movement in Battlefield 6, especially horizontal speed. Black Ops 7 campaign doesn't have difficulty options. Following that, Black Ops 6 content is not going to carry it forward to Black Ops 7. Extraction shooter Escape from Tarkov finally has a 1.0 release date set for November 15th, 8 years after the initial launch. Sony sells ownership stake in Evo to Nodwin Gaming. Overwatch 2 trailer teases Persona 5 crossover for Season 18. At long last, Hollow Knight Silksong has a release date set for September 4th. Following that, Silksong looks to be significantly bigger than the original Hollow Knight. Following that, Team Cherry has its own plans for more has plans for more Silksong content for months and years to come. And lastly, on that one, Hollow Knight reaches 15 million copies sold because Silksong has got a release date. Squanch Games really wants Danny DeVito to play a gun in High on Life 3. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight really does have just 7 playable characters, and it's dividing fan opinion. Assassin's Creed Mirage getting free Saudi Arabia DLC later this year, and it's actually story-based DLC, which is weird because Ubisoft said that they were done with Mirage after it came out 2 years ago at this point. So it's really interesting to hear that. Or was it last year? Anyway, it was really interesting to see that. It's like, maybe we'll put some DLC out. Excuse me. The Division 2 brought back the series' original creative director for its new Survivors Extraction experience. Sekiro No Defeat production company says no AI is being used in the anime's creation or production. Let's go. Sony has made the process of requesting a PlayStation Store refund much easier. Forza Horizon 6 is reportedly set to be announced at Tokyo Game Show in September. Sean Layden greenlit Ratchet & Clank PS4, even though Sony wasn't keen on the idea. Death Stranding 3 concept has already been written, but Hideo Kojima hopes someone else will make it for him. After Fallout's success, Amazon sets Mass Effect series filming date, though it's unclear if it'll be a canon adaptation of the trilogy. Nintendo Direct reportedly set for next month as Metroid Prime 4 release date and Mario 40th anniversary speculation mounts. Ninja Gaiden 4 devs assure newcomers that the tools are available to train themselves to get better at the game. Fortnite Festival Season 10 will feature gorillas. Turok Origins can be played in first person. Sony Santa Monica Studio job listing points to new God of War game. Just get it out. Just announce something at this point. We've heard all the speculation. Just tell us if it's real or not at this point. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 studio making adjustments in wake of feedback on day one DLC. It's almost like that wasn't a good idea to begin with. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 director reveals the game is not the end of the series, hinting at more projects to come. Switch 2 has sold 2 million units in the US, 75% ahead of the Switch 1's pace. Atari, a name we haven't heard of in a while, snaps up 5 dormant Ubisoft franchises and says it will re-release them on new platforms. Elden Ring superfan Alex Garland has put together a 160-page draft script with 40 extra pages of images to convince Hidetaka Miyazaki to let him direct the movie. After Super Mario Brothers movie's success, Nintendo makes it clear it's committed to film production with a newly restructured entertainment division named Nintendo Stars. 3 years later, Pokemon Go is finally unlocking mythical creature Keldeo for all, but those who previously paid $8 for one won't get another. Firesprite Studio is staffing up for a next-gen dark story-driven adventure game. So, next week starts September, which means new PS Plus Essentials, free games. Next month, you're getting Psychonauts 2, Stardew Valley, and Viewfinder. Crystal Dynamics lays off more following Perfect Dark cancellation. Ken Levine's Judas reemerges with devlog, highlighting a new system that lets your choices decide the story's villain. Following data mine leak, Bethesda confirms Starfield space gameplay revamp to make the travels there more rewarding. And second to last one, Xbox insiders on cheaper Game Pass tiers can now stream more cloud games and access PC versions of some of the games they own. And lastly, former Black Panther devs join Wizards of the Coast for new game project.
Interesting, because Wizards of the Coast own the IP for Baldur's Gate, and Lyrian Studios got the rights to do Baldur's Gate 3.
Right.
So I think they might be doing the new Baldur's Gate.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. Just a few comments here I want to hit. Brutal Legends 2. Yeah, just to clarify, that's not happening.
It's not happening. People wanted it. I don't know if I know, we finally got Psychonauts 2 a few years ago after a long wait. So now I think fans were clamoring for a Brutal Legends 2 because that was pretty much like not an indie darling, but like one of those niche hits. I forget the terminology they use for that type of thing. But and Tim Schafer, I think,
Critical Darling.
Yeah. That I don't know if that was anyway, that's beside the point. And maybe Tim Schafer hinted at it at one point in time after they announced Psychonauts 2 was actually being a thing, but don't expect it anytime soon. They're pretty much in the business of making new IPs for right now.
Yeah.
Like Walking Lighthouses.
Yeah, that game looks very interesting.
Yeah.
Nate's comment about Hideo Kojima on Death Stranding 3. He has to find the right person to scan feet. I just played 10 hours of Death Stranding 1. Mm-hmm. Hideo, hire me. I'm down. I'll make your game. I know nothing about game design, but I know gaming. I know games.
You could go in there. You can be the shoe and be like, yeah, this is crap.
Yeah.
Do it, fix it.
Do it better.
Build it beautiful.
Build it beautiful. Oh man. So many good stuff though, everybody here. I'm glad that Silksong is finally coming out and seeing that.
And soon, that's next week, isn't it? Actually.
Yeah. And First Steps got delayed because of it. So that's all
yeah.
That's good. That's
Wait,
good.
You mean Baby Steps?
Baby Steps, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That game.
Well, that's that game. You want to talk about weird games? That's the epitome of weird, brother.
That is a weird game for sure. All right, everybody. That is going to do it for us tonight. We are going to send you over to a premiere page for our Kaiju number 8, season 2, episode 3 reaction. Mm-hmm. Make sure to make sure to watch it, enjoy it. Had a lot of fun doing it. So hope y'all enjoy that. But thank y'all so much for being here. We'll be live on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time playing more Ghost of Tsushima, where you, the chat, get to decide, and it's going to get crazy. It's going to be great, y'all. It's going to be great. This has been Zach
and Derek.
Y'all have a blessed night. Bye-bye.